Bandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vidam Sya Om Jnana Timarandarasya Jnanajana Shalakaya Chakshuramilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supuragam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Bhatanugam Govinda Abhidam Ujvalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwa Gurunsha Divyat Bhagavat Premna Vibijapradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavananam Balarka Chelan Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Sarasatanam Baram Bandetam Shuvaram Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Sridharam Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyavaja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pranayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurata Vishay Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad. This is Madhya-lila, chapter 9, Lord Chaitanya's travels to the holy places. I'll begin with verse number 119. And this is a discussion between Mahaprabhu and Venkatabhata, and they're discussing why and how that Lakshmi Devi wanted to enter into the Rasa Lila with Krishna, but she was unable to do so. And so Mahaprabhu especially brings this up because Venkatabhata, he's from the Sri or Ramanuja Sampradaya, and their worship is of Lakshmi Narayan. So there's a discussion of how Lakshmi wanted to enter into enjoy pastimes with Krishna, but was unable to do so. Vinodani Lakmir Hoy Krishna Abhilas Ihate Ki Dosha Kene Koraparihas. Venkatabhata further explained, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is also an enjoyer of transcendental bliss. Therefore, if she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what fault is there? Why are you joking so about this? Prabhu ko he dosha nahi, ihami jani, rasana paila lakmi, shastre iha jani. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault on the part of the goddess of fortune, but still she could not enter into the rasa dance. We hear this from the revealed scriptures. Nayam Shriyonga U Nitanta Rate Prasada Svaryoshitam Nalina Ganda Rucham Kutonyaha Rasotsavesha Bhuja Danda Grihita Kanta Labda Shisham Ya Uragad Raja Sundarinam. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Lila, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world, nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma exactly resemble the beauty and fragrance of lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation. Latmikenina paila ihar ki karuna Tapakore Kaichi Krishna Paila Shrutigana. So that previous verse was quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam that explained that Lakshmi, although she may have had desire to experience the Rasa Lila, she was completely unable to do so. That's a privilege only bestowed upon the gopis. Lakmikenina Paila Iharki Karana Tapakore Kachi Krishna Paila Shrutigan. But can you tell me why, Mahaprabhu is saying, but can you tell me why the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, could not enter the rasa dance, but the authorities of Vedic knowledge could enter the dance and associate with Krishna? The Shrutigan, the personified Vedas, they also wanted to enter into the Rasa Lila, and although Lakshmi couldn't, they were able to do so. And Mahaprabhu is having some fun with Venkatabhata, and he said, well, why is it Lakshmi couldn't, but the Shrutidar, or the personified Vedas, they could? And then here's another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that explains that. Nibrita Marun Manoksha Drita Yoga Yujo Ridiyan Munaya Upasate Tad Arayopi Ayus Smaranat Striya Uragendra Bhoga Buja Danda Vishakta Dio Vayam Apite Samadrishongri Saroja Shudaha. Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus engaging in mystic yoga, they see the supersoul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. However, the damsels of Vraja, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads, this is the Shruti personified, the Vedas personified. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis. Shruti Pai Lakmina Pai Paya Iteki Karan Bhatakohe Iha Praveshite Nare Moraman. Having been asked by Mahaprabhu why the goddess of fortune could not enter into the rasa dance, whereas the authorities on Vedic knowledge could, Venkatabhata replied, I cannot enter into the mysteries of this behavior. Because by his persuasion, his worship of Lakshmi, he is unable to understand why Lakshmi tried to enter into the rasa dance and was unsuccessful. But the personified Vedas, they wanted to enter into the rasa dance, but they were successful. And the reason is stated in the previous verse, that they followed in the footsteps of the gopis. So that will be explained. Ami Jiva Kudra Buddhi Sahaje Astir Ishvarer Lila Kote Samudra Gambir. Venkatabhata then said, I am an ordinary human being. Since my intelligence is very limited and I am easily agitated, my mind cannot enter within the deep ocean of the pastimes of the Lord. Tumi Sakat Se Krishna Janani Jakarma Jare Janaha Se Jane Tomara Lila Marma. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. You know the purpose of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes. Prabhu Kohe Krishnara Ek Swabhava Vilakan Swamadhurye Sarvachitta Koreakarshan. The Lord replied, Lord Krishna has a special characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love. So all will be attracted by Krishna's divine pastimes. Rajaloker, Bhave, Paye, Tahara, Charan, Tare, Ishwara, Kore, Nahi, Jane, Brajajan. By following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Brajaloka or Goloka Vrindavan, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. However, in that planet, the inhabitants do not know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. They don't worship Krishna. The inhabitants of Goloka Vrindavan and Vrindavan, they don't worship Krishna because they know he's God. That would be Aishwarya Gyan, on reverence. But they're not motivated in that way. Rather, the gopis, the residents of Vrindavan, they're attracted by Krishna out of love, not out of reverence. Keho tare putra gyane udukale bande, keho saka gyane jini chare tarakande. There someone may accept him as a son and sometimes bind him to a grinding mortar. Someone else may accept him as an intimate friend and attaining victory over him playfully mount his shoulders or climb up on his shoulders. So you wouldn't do that knowing that Krishna is God, but Mother Yashoda binds Krishna to a grinding mortar because he's naughty and she wants to finish her work, so she ties him to a mortar. The friends of Krishna, they fight him when Balaram's side, for instance, is victorious, then Krishna's side has to carry. When Balaram's side is victorious, then Krishna's side has to carry members of Balaram's team on their shoulders. Rajendra Nandana Bole Tare Jane Brajajan Aishwarya Gyani Nahi Kon Sambandha Manan. The inhabitants of Brajabhumi know Krishna as the son of Maharaj Nanda, the king of Brajabhumi, and they consider that they can have no relationship with the Lord in the rasa of opulence. So they're not worshiping Krishna out of a sense of reverence or opulence. That's not called Aishwarya Gyan. That's not the mood of Vrindavan. The mood of Vrindavan is that there is more intimacy and an attraction of love. Braja Loker Bhavish Jay Koraye Bojan Se Janapai Braje Brajendra Nandan. One who worships the Lord by following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of Brajabhumi attains him in the transcendental planet of Braja, where he is known as the son of Maharaj Nanda. So this is the indication, and it will be explained how the personified Vedas were able to enter into the rasa dance. Nayam Sukapo Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutta Jnaninam Chatma Bhutanam Yatha Bhakti Matamiha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then quoted, "The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to those devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self." So if someone is doing it as a matter of duty or perseverance or by religious preference, out of rules and regulations and following so many scriptures and principles, they won't be successful. But the residents of Vrindavan, they are spontaneously attracted to Krishna. So the personified Vedas decided that they would follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. Shrutigan Gopiganer Anugata Haya Brajeshwari Suta Bhaje Gopi Bhavaloya. The authorities in the Vedic literature, who are known as the Shrutiganas, worship Lord Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis, and followed in their footsteps. So authorities in the Vedic literature, known as the Shruti Ganas, worship Lord Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis and followed in their footsteps. Vayantare gopi deho braje jabe paila se dehe Krishna sange rasa krila koila. The personified authorities on the Vedic hymns acquired bodies like those of the gopis and took birth in Brajabhumi. In those bodies, they were allowed to enter into the Lord's Rasa Lila dance. So first they approached to Goloka Vrindavan, and then they desired to serve the gopis, and they developed some appreciation for their devotion, and then in the next birth, by their meditation and everything, they were able to be born in the families of gopis so that they too could enter into the Rasa Lila. Gopajati Krishna Gopi Priya Sitahar Devi Va Anya Stri Krishna Nakori Angikar. Lord Krishna belongs to the cowherd community, and the gopis are the dearmost lovers of Krishna. Although the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets are most opulent within the material, although the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets are most opulent within the material world, neither they nor any other woman, nor any other women in the material universe can acquire Krishna's association. So they may be rulers of their planets or the wives of the rulers of their planets, but they cannot enter into Krishna's Leela. That right is reserved for those who are attracted to him, spun out of deep love. Lakmi chahe se dehe Krishnera sangama gopika anuga haya nakoila bhajana. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, wanted to enjoy Krishna and at the same time retain her spiritual body in the form of Lakshmi. However, she did not follow in the footsteps of the gopis in her worship of Krishna. And why is that? Because Lakshmi, she has her special position. She's like a queen. She's the goddess of opulence. Lakshmi Devi, naturally, she can't go beyond that feeling of Aishwarya Gan, which is all reverence and opulence, because she's the personification of that. And that disqualifies her from entering into the direct association of Krishna. Anya dehe napaye vasavilas ateva nayam shloka kahevena vyas. Vyasadeva, the supreme authority on Vedic literature, composed the verse beginning Nayam Sukalapo Bhagavan, because no one can enter into the Rasa Lila dance in any body other than that of a gopi. Purve Bhatteramane Ek Chila Abhiman Sri Nayana Hoyan Swayam Bhagavan. Before this explanation was given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Venkatabhata thought that Sri Narayan was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tahara Bhajana Sarvopari Kakahoy Sri Vaishnavera Bhojan E Sarvopari Hoy. Thinking in this way, Venkatabhata believed that worship of Narayan was the supreme form of worship, superior to all other processes of devotional service, for it was followed by the Sri Vaishnava disciples of Ramanujacharya. Etara Garba Prabhu Korite Kandan Parihas Tuari Udai Ete Kavachan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had understood this misconception of Venkatabhata's, and to correct it, the Lord talked so much in a joking way. Now, his joking way was, well, why does your worshipful goddess Lakshmi, why did she want to enter into the Rasa Lila? But Venkatabhata is thinking that Krishna is an expansion of Narayan, So there's nothing wrong with what Lakshmi wanting to do that. She's not being unchaste. She's going for an expansion of Narayan, so that's also part of her devotion to Narayan, but Narayan doesn't have the pastimes of the Rasa Lila, so she wanted to know about that. And then Mahaprabhu said, all right, I'm not saying she's unchaste, but then my question is, why was she unsuccessful? And then we're having this discussion. Prabhu kohe bata tumi na koriya samshai, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna etanisshai. The Lord then continued, my dear Vyankatabhata, please do not continue doubting. Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is the conclusion of the Vedic literature. So then if you understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, you can understand his pastimes are the most sublime, they're the most elevated. But the entrance into those pastimes is not out of awe and worship and opulence and reverence. That's good for Vaikuntha, but it's not good for Goloka Vrindavan. Krishnara Vilasa Murti Sri Narayan Ateva Latmi Adyar Hare Tehomana. Lord Narayan, the opulent form of Krishna, attracts the minds of the goddess of fortune and her followers. Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakalam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. All these incarnations of Godhead are either plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions of the Purusha avatars. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. So that verse is showing that the original form of Godhead, the source of all incarnations and even of Lord Narayan himself, is Krishna. Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. Narayana hoite Krishnara asadaragan. Narayana hoite Krishnara asadarangun ateva latmir Krishna Trishna Anukan. Because Krishna has four extraordinary qualities not possessed by Lord Narayan, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always desires his company. And these four qualities that Krishna has as the original Godhead, he has these four qualities that Lord Narayan doesn't have. Now, Lord Narayan has all the qualities of Krishna except these four qualities. And these four qualities are his wonderful pastimes. Krishna's pastimes are unique. Krishna's wonderful pastimes, which are compared to an ocean. 2, his association in the circle of the supreme devotees in conjugal love, the gopis, which is the Rasa Lila. 3, his playing on the flute, whose vibration attracts the three worlds. And 4, his extraordinary beauty, which surpasses the beauty of the three worlds. Lord Krishna's beauty is unequaled and unsurpassed. So these are the four qualities that Krishna has in abundance that Lord Narayan doesn't have. His wonderful lila or pastimes, Krishna has innumerable continual lila. His association in the circle of the supreme devotees in conjugal love with the gopis, the Rasa Lila. His playing on the flute and his extraordinary beauty, which surpasses that of everyone. Tumi jay padila shlok se hoy praman se shloke aishe Krishna Swayam Bhagavan. You have recited the shloka beginning with Siddhanta Swabede Pi. That very verse is evidence that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Siddhanta Swabede Pi Shrisha Krishna Sarupayo Rasod Krishyate Krishna Rupam Esha Rasastiti. According to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Krishna and Narayan. Yet in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently he surpasses Narayan. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. So Krishna has a special conjugal mellow, or Sringara Ras, or what is the other way we say that? Paramour, but the words is, we say conjugal love, we say Sringara Ras, they say also Madhurya Rasa. So, but that rasa of Krishna, I mean, Narayan has his wives, so there must be something of a loving relation with them. But Krishna's Madhurya Ras has both wedded and the quality of wedded and unwedded love. And Krishna is dancing with so many, not just his wives, he's dancing with the gopis. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Harer Lakmirman Gopikara Mana Harite Narayan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, attracts the mind of the Goddess of Fortune, but Lord Narayan cannot attract the minds of the gopis. This proves the super excellence of Krishna. So Lakshmi was attracted by Krishna, but the gopis are not attracted by Narayan. Narayanera Kakatash Sri Krishna Apane Gopikare Hasya Karaite Hoy Narayane. To say nothing of Lord Narayan personally, Lord Krishna himself appeared as Narayan just to play a joke on the gopis. Chaturbhuja Murti Dehai Gopikaner Age Se Krishna Gopikara Nahyanurage. Although Krishna assumed the four-armed form of Narayan, he could not attract the serious attention of the gopis in ecstatic love. Gopinam Pashupendra Nandana Jusho Bhavasya Kastam Kriti Vigyatum Shamate Duruha Paravi Sancharina Prakriyam Avishkurvati Vaishnavim Api Tanum Tasmin Bujar Jishnubir Yasam Handa Chaturbir Adbhuta Ruchim Ragodaya Kunshati. Once Lord Krishna playfully manifested himself as Narayan with four victorious hands in a very beautiful form. When the gopis saw this exalted form, however, their ecstatic feelings were crippled. A learned scholar therefore cannot understand the gopis' ecstatic feelings, which are firmly fixed upon the original form of Krishna, of Lord Krishna as the son of Nandamaraj. The wonderful feelings of the gopis in ecstatic paramaras with Krishna constitute the greatest mystery in spiritual life. So one time Krishna was hiding and the gopis were looking for him, but from a distance they saw that he was hiding in the bushes. But when they approached him to further hide himself, Krishna assumed the form of Narayan. But when the gopis saw that, they weren't attracted by that form of Narayan. They only offered some respect to that form of Narayan. They said, "Oh, Lord Narayan, we offer our obeisances to you, but have you seen Krishna? We're looking for Krishna." So they were not attracted to the form of Narayan. Eta kohe prabhutara garva churna koriya tare shuka dite kohe siddhanda viraya. In this way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deflated the pride of Vyankatabhata. But just to make him happy again, he spoke as follows. Dukana bhaviha bhatta koilun parihas shastra siddhanta shuna jate vaishnava vishwas. The Lord pacified Vyankatabhata by saying, actually, whatever I have said is by way of jest. Now you can hear from me the conclusion of the Shastras in which every Vaishnava devotee has firm faith. Krishna Narayan Jaiche Ekai Swarup Gopi Latmi Beda Nahi Hoy Ek Rup. There is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Narayan, for they are of the same form. Similarly, there is no difference between the gopis and the goddess of fortune, for they also are of the same form. What this means is Narayan is an expansion of Krishna, and the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is an expansion of the gopis, or Radharani. Gopi Dwari Lakshmi Kore Krishna Sangashvad Ishva Ratve Bedam Manile Hoy Apara. The goddess of fortune enjoys the association of Krishna through the gopis. One should not differentiate between the forms of the Lord, for such a conception is offensive. Ek Ishvara Bhaktara Jnana Anurup Ekayi Vigrahe Kore Nanaskara Rup. There is no difference between the transcendental forms of the Lord. Different forms are manifested due to different attachments of different devotees. Actually, the Lord is one, but he appears in different forms just to satisfy his devotees. Manir yata vibhagena nila pita dibir yutaha rupa bedam avapnoti jana bedat tata chutaha. When the jewel known as Vaidurya touches various other materials, it appears to be separated into different colors, and consequently its forms also appear different. Similarly, according to the meditational ecstasy of the devotee, the Lord, who is known as Achyuta, the infallible one, appears in different forms, although he is essentially one. Batakohe kahanami jiva pamar kahantumi se Krishna sakadishwar. Vyankatabhata then said, I am an ordinary fallen living entity. I'm just a fallen jiva. But you are Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Agara Ishvara Lila Kichwina Jani Tumi Jay Kahase Satya Korimani. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are unfathomable, and I do not know anything about them. Whatever you say, I accept as the truth. So, this is Vyankatabhata declaring that whatever Mahaprabhu says, he accepts that completely. He says, I'm a fallen jiva, but what you say, that is perfect. More Purna Kripa Koila Lakmi Narayan Tara Kripai Painu Tomar Charana Darshan. I have been engaged in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, and it is due to their mercy that I have been able to see your lotus feet. Kripa Kore Kohile More Krishnara Mahima Jara Rupa Gunaishwaryer Kehonapai Sima. Out of your causeless mercy, you have told me of the glories of Lord Krishna. No one can reach the end of the opulence, qualities, and forms of the Lord. Ebe se janinu Krishna bhaktis sarvopare kritarta korile more kohile kripa kori. I can now understand the devotional service. I can now understand that devotional service unto Lord Krishna is the supreme form of worship. Out of your causeless mercy, you have made my life successful simply by explaining the facts. Eta boli bata padila pravorchanane kripakore prabhutare koila alingane. After saying this, Venkata fell down before the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, embraced him. Chaturmasya purnahoila bata agyaloya dakina chalila prabhush Sri Rangadekiya. When the period of Chaturmasya was completed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took permission to leave from Venkatabhata, and after visiting Sri Ranga, he proceeded further toward southern India. Sangete Chalilabhata Najai Babane Tare Vidai Dila Prabhu Aneka Jatane. Venkatabhata did not want to return home, but also wanted to go with the Lord. It was with great endeavor that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade him farewell. Prabhur Viyoge Bata Hoila Achetan E Rangalila Kori Sachiranandan. When he did so, Venkatabhata fell down unconscious. Such are the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, at Sri Rangakshetra. Rishabha Parvate Chali Aila Gorahari Narayana Dekila Taha Nati Stuti Kori. When the Lord arrived at Rishabh Hill, he saw the temple of Lord Narayan and offered obeisances and various prayers. Paramananda Puri Taha Rohe Chaturmas Shuni Mahaprabhu Gela Puri Gosarpash. Paramananda Puri had stayed at Rishabh Hill during the 4 months of the rainy season. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he immediately went to see him. He went to see Paramananda Puri. So the 4 months of the rainy season, that's called Chaturmasya. And because of the rains, the sadhus, they don't travel so much in those months. So they usually during the Chaturmasya, they'll stay in one place. So Paramananda Puri had stayed at Rishabh Hill. Now the rainy season is finished, and Mahaprabhu has come there, and he still found Paramananda Puri there. So he went quickly to go see him before Paramananda Puri could leave. Puri Gosar Prabhu Koila Charana Bandhan Premye Puri Gosai Tare Koila Alingan. Upon meeting Paramananda Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered him all respects, touching his lotus feet, and Paramananda Puri embraced the Lord in ecstasy. Teen Din Premedo He Krishna Katarange Se Vipragarido He Rohe Eksange. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed with Paramananda Puri in the Brahman's house where he was residing. The two of them passed 3 days there discussing topics of Krishna. So Paramananda Puri was staying as guest in the Brahman's house, and Mahaprabhu went there and stayed there with Paramananda Puri. Puri Gosai Bolayami Jab Purushottame Purushottama Deki Gode Jab Ganga Snane. Paramananda Puri informed Mahaprabhu that he was going to see Purushottama at Jagannath Puri, that Paramananda Puri was going to Jagannath Puri. After seeing Lord Jagannath there, he would go to Bengal to bathe in the Ganges. Prabhu kohe tumi puna aisha nilanchale ami setu banda hoite asiba alpa kale. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told him, please return to Jagannath Puri, for I will return there very soon from Rameshwar, from Setubandha. Mahaprabhu said, I'm going to do pilgrimage in South India, I will finish, and then I will return to Jagannath Puri, so please meet me there. Tomara nikate rohe, hena vancha hoy, nila chalia sibe more hoya sadoy. It is my desire to stay with you, and therefore, if you would return to Jagannath Puri, you would show great mercy to me. Etabole taratai e agyaloya, dakine chalila prabhu harashita hoya. After talking in this way, Paramananda Puri, after talking in this way with Paramananda Puri, the Lord took his permission to leave and very pleased departed for southern India. Paramananda Puri tabe chalila nilachale, Mahaprabhu chali chali aila Sri Shaile. Thus Paramananda Puri started for Jagannath Puri, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began walking towards Sri Shaila. So Mahaprabhu continued with his touring of, continue with his travels to South India, and Paramananda Puri proceeded to Jagannath Puri. Shiva Durga Rohitahan Brahman Nera Veshe Mahaprabhu Deke Dohar Hoila Ulase. In Sri Shaila, Lord Shiva and his wife Durga lived in the dress of Brahmins, and when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became very pleased. Tin din bikadila korini mantran nibritte base gupta bharta baheduijan. Lord Shiva, just dressed like a Brahmin, gave alms to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and invited him to spend 3 days in a solitary place. Sitting there together, they talked very confidentially. So that Lord Shiva was living in Sri Shaila and gave alms to Mahaprabhu, means he gave lunch to Mahaprabhu. Tara Sange Mahaprabhu Kori Ishtagoshti Tara Agyaloya Aila Puri Kamakoshti. After talking with Lord Shiva, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his permission to leave and went to Kamakoshti Puri. So I'm gonna stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue, hopefully. Tomorrow is also Christmas time, and we have the Zoom meeting with devotees in England, Spain, and other places. So if I don't read tomorrow, I'll read the day after. Okay. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Javaya Nama Jaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govindaram Shimari Sudam Gopal Govindaram Shimari Sudam Girirari Gopinatha Maranama Janardan Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktivedanta Janardan Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktivedanta Sarupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Jarupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raguna Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaoite Vignana Shabishta Puran Jaoite Vignana Shabishta Puran Echai Gosai Charmui Taradas Echai Gosai Charmui Taradas Kasavar Padarenu Mora Panchagas Kasavar Padarenu Mora Panchagas Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivar Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivar Janame Janame Mor Hey Abhilash Janame Janame Mor Hey Abhilash Echai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koilabas Echai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan Hare Ram Sankirtana Kohe Narada Modas Hare Ram Kirtana Kohe Narada Modas Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Paravajaka Charyashta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Tilak Neri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Paravajaka Charyashta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Paravajaka Charya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Paravajaka Charya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Ragana Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudhi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Jai Shri Vishwavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupad Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Namadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Madam Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shrina Sringadev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Sripad Bhakti Raman Madhav Maharaj Ki Jai. Gaur Brahmanande Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnu Paramahansa Prabhupada Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.